Hey guys, how's it going? We are back at it with chapter 4. We previously went over medians and altitudes, so if you haven't watched those videos, I believe they are called 5.2. So if you haven't watched those videos, make sure you go ahead and watch those before you watch this section. This is actually going to be the second to last video of this entire chapter, so if you haven't watched any of the previous videos, I would highly recommend you go ahead and do so. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about 4.2. So our lesson for today is going to help us apply the triangle sum theorem and the exterior angle theorem. So two theorems that we're going to learn today. And then we're also going to use algebra to find an angle and or the side measures in triangles. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump straight into it. First off, let's go ahead and read off here to the side what is being explained. It says, when the sides of a triangle are extended, other angles are formed. Alright, you guys can probably see that here. Alright, see how if we extend the triangle right there? See how we're extending the triangles here, guys? Those are creating other new angles. So let's go ahead and see if we can identify and classify each of those angles. So it says the three original angles are the interior angles. So that would be these right here. Okay? So those are interior angles. Angle A, B, and C. So those right there are interior angles because they are in the interior of our triangle ABC. Alright, so those are the ones we regularly talk about. But there's another set of angles here. Alright, and those are going to be called exterior angles. Okay, so it says the angles that are adjacent to the interior angles are exterior angles. So for example, notice right here, angle A was right there. Well, angle A is technically still right here. Alright? But this area over here on the outside, on the exterior, is adjacent to that angle. That is going to be called an exterior angle. Okay? So all of these here that are kind of hang out to the outsides are the exterior angles that are adjacent to all of the interior angles here in yellow. Alright? So let's keep going with our definitions and theorems. First off, the triangle sum theorem. The description for this theorem explains that the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a triangle are, or is rather, 180 degrees. So if you add up all of the all of the angles here, you should end up with 180 degrees. That means that the measure of angle T plus the measure of angle U plus the measure of angle V will equal always to 180. And again, we're talking about the interior angle. So this plus this plus this will always be 180. Okay? So that is the triangle sum theorem. Let's keep going here. The corollary to the triangle sum theorem is that the acute angles of a right triangle are complementary. Alright? Now, why is that true? Well, think about it. If this plus this plus this equal 180, well, I already know what this one is. What's this one right here? That one's 90 degrees. Well, okay. Well, if all three of those have to add up to be 180, but I already know what one of them is, right? It's 90, then the other two added together must be also. So let me put that in words here. So let me do this. Measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B, or measure of angle C, plus angle B, but we know what that is, that's 90, should equal to 180. So if I subtract 90, look at what I have. Measure of angle A plus the measure of angle C equals 90. Well, look at that. If I ever have two different angles that add up to 90, that's what it means to be complementary. So my theorem here is that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle C must add up to be 90 degrees. Okay? All right, and then finally we have one more of these theorems here. Let's go ahead and describe what that one says. It says the measure of the exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of the two non-adjacent interior angles. All right, so let's go ahead and try to see what that means. All right, so we have an exterior angle right here. Okay, now the angle that is adjacent to that is this one right here. That's an interior angle. What we are saying is that the exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of the two non-adjacent. That would be these two. This one right here, angle E, and this one right here, angle D. So what does that mean? Well, that means that the measure of angle D plus the measure of angle E will equal the measure of angle 1, that exterior angle. All right, so please keep that in mind. These three theorems, let's go ahead and recap them one more time. The triangle sum theorem says that all three of these angles, 1, 2, and 3, must add up to be 180 degrees. This corollary to the triangle sum theorem is saying that if we have a right triangle, then the acute angles of the right triangle, meaning angles A and C, they must be complementary. They have to add to be 90 degrees, which makes sense because if A plus C equals 90, and then the 90 already from the right angle, which was B, then 90 plus 90 will add up to be 180. Okay, and then finally, the exterior angle theorem says that the measure of the exterior angle, in this case, example, angle 1, is the sum of the measures of the two non-adjacent. Okay, so it's the sum of the measures of these two right here. So angle E plus angle D, these two will be equal to that one. Okay, maybe that'll give you a little bit more of an idea of which ones. And again, the reason why it's E and D and not F is because this right here says non-adjacent. This is adjacent right here, so I don't want this one. I don't want this one. I want the other two, so E and D. All right, I'm not going to extend that further. Let's actually go ahead and practice this. Think about this. So it says, solve for x, the measure of angle G, and the measure of angle L. Okay, well, let's do it. What do we know right away? Well, I know for a fact this is a right angle, meaning that this is already 90 degrees. Okay, and we already have our corollary, right? We have the corollary that says that if that's already a right triangle, then the acute angles 2x and x must be complementary, meaning x plus x will equal 90. Okay, well now it's just a matter of solving here. 2x plus 1x is 3x equals 90. Divide both sides by 3. We get that x equals 30. All right, we have that x equals 30. What does that mean about the measure of angle L? It means the measure of angle L is 30 degrees, and the measure of angle J is 2 times 30, which is 60 degrees. And again, guys, that makes sense because look, 30 plus 60 plus the 90 we already had, that is 180. All three interior angles added to be 180. So that makes sense. Cool. Next one. Solve for x and for the measure of DAB. Okay, Alright, well, let's do it. Well, first off, notice angle DAB is an exterior angle. It's this one right here. Okay? So that's an exterior angle. We know something about exterior angles. We know that this exterior angle has to be equal to the two adjacent, the two non-adjacent angles added together. So that means that the measure of B is equal to the measure of B plus measure of C. So let's actually substitute all the values in. So that means x10 equals 65 plus x. Alright, well now it's just looking for x. So I'm going to go ahead and move one of my x's since I have two of them. I like putting the smaller one first. And then I'm going to go ahead and subtract 10. Whoops, sorry. That's actually 50. Alright, so my x equals 50 here. Oh, actually, my bad. That was a 65, not a 60. 65. Sorry about that. So this is actually going to be a 55. Alright, cool. So we know what our x is. Let's go ahead and find out what the measure of DAB is. So 2 parentheses plus 10 because we're substituting in 55 for x. So the measure of angle DAB is equal to, well, what is that? 2 times 55 is 110, and 110 plus 10 is 120. Alright. So again, guys, we solved for x, and once we did, we went ahead and found the measure of DAB. Alright. Let's keep going here, guys. Let's keep these theorems in the back of our mind as we are solving these. So, this next one. Find the value of each variable. Alright, well, we have to find the value of x. Well, I'm given that all three of the interior angles are x. And we know what about all the exterior angles? We know that they have to add up to be 180. So x plus x equals 180. Well, if I add all my x's, 3x equals 180 divided by 3, we get that x equals 60. So x equals 60. Alright, I want you guys to go ahead and try B. Go ahead and pause the video at this time and try that one out. Alright, let's see what we got. So if we have all three interior angles, why don't we just add them up and set them equal to 180? So 2x plus 3x plus 4x equals 180. This is 9x equals 180. Divide by 9, we get x equals 20. X equals 20. So hopefully you guys got x equals 20 as well. Let's keep going. Alright, well, let's see if we can find x. Well, actually there's a few different ways we can find x, but let's see what the easiest one is. I have here that this is 90 degrees. So I'm really only missing that angle. So in this triangle, if I just focus on this triangle here, I have all my angles except for x, but I know that they all have to add up to be 180. So if I plus 40 90, I will get 180 degrees. Well, this is x plus 130 equals 180. If I subtract 130, I'm going to get x equals 50. So x equals 50. All right. So what I'm going to actually go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and cross this out. And put 50 right there. Now, I actually have, let's see, there's a few different ways of solving for this next one, but maybe, well, why don't we actually go ahead and use one of the theorems that we've been doing. This right here is technically an exterior angle, which adds up to be what? 121 degrees, okay? And we know that if we have, let's focus on this triangle right here. And the reason why I extended that triangle is because look, that shows us that this 121 degrees is an exterior angle. Well, we know what about exterior angles? An exterior angle equals the sum of the two non-adjacent angles. So I can do that now. This is going to be 120 equals 55 plus 2y. If I subtract 5, I'm going to get 65 equals 2y. Right? And then I'm going to have to just divide by 2. And let's see what we get. This one is actually, oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't 120. No wonder this is coming out a little funky. This is supposed to be 121. Alright, so this is really 66. So I got y equals 33. Now, answer is 33, so hopefully you guys got a very similar answer. Now, some of you guys might have been saying that you did it different. Now, keep this work on your paper. I'm going to go ahead and erase everything for a moment. Keep this work on your paper for now, but I'm going to show you another method that you could have used to solve this. Okay, if we knew that this was 50, right, then this here, this whole thing makes a straight line, right? So it has to be 180. Well, if we know that that has to be 180, then 180 minus my 50 minus my 71 would equal what? Well, that's actually going to equal 59. So that means this here is 59 degrees. Now we can just focus on this triangle. And those are all interior angles. So I could set all of these and add them to be 180. So it'd be 2y plus 59 plus 55 equals 180. That'd be 2y plus 1. See, what would that be? 14 equals 80. Then 2y equals 66 after subtracting the 144. And once again, after I divide by 2, I'm going to get y equals 33. So I end up getting the exact same answer. It really doesn't matter which method you chose. Alright. Alright guys, let's go ahead and move on to this next one. So, let's see if we can figure this one out. Let's take a good look at this one. What can we possibly do on this one? This one's a little bit trickier, guys. I wanna give you guys a shot. Let you see if you can figure out how to do this one. I wanna see if you guys can spot the exterior angle. Okay, well, let's go ahead and solve it. So, I want you guys to focus on this right here. On that triangle right there. And I'm gonna extend this so you can see that here, that's an exterior angle. Right there. Okay? And what do we know about exterior angles? angles that they have to be equal to the sum of the two non-adjacent. So those two. So what do I really have here? I have that 10x plus 9 equals 38 plus 7x plus 1. Okay, now it's just a matter of solving. Well, I have two like terms here that I can find. So this is 10x plus 9 equals 39 plus 7x. I can now move one of my variables, and I always like to move the smaller one. I'm going to subtract 7x. I get 3x plus 9 equals 39. Subtract my 9. I get 3x equals 30. And finally divide both by 3. I will get x equals 10. Alright, so if I get x equals 10, let's see what we got now. Let me go ahead and erase all this stuff. So if I know what x equals 10, I'm going to go ahead and substitute 10 in for this x right here. So that would give me what? 10 plus 10 plus 9 would be 100 plus 9. In other words, it would be 109. The reason why that's important is because now I can write that in here. This is 109 degrees. And look at that. Isn't this a linear pair with that? Okay, those two make a straight angle. So that is a linear pair. So I really have to just do to find y is do 109 plus y equals 180. And if I subtract 109, I should get 71. So 10 for x, 71 for y. Alright guys, I think I'm going to give you guys a shot to try a few on your own. So why don't you guys go ahead and try. Why don't you guys go ahead and try letter E? I want to see if you guys can get that one. So please try at this moment letter E. So go ahead and pause the video at this time and go ahead and try that one out. Alright guys, so we obviously have to find the measure of angles 1, 2, and 3. And sorry that on my paper it doesn't come out, but I'm going to go ahead and call this angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3. Alright, so we didn't have a clear way of starting here, but there is definitely one way I want to start, and that's right here. This is an exterior angle, meaning that I have to add the two non-adjacent angles. So I have to add those two. So 55 plus 70 equals 125. So the measure of angle 1 is 125. Perfect. Alright, so now there is another thing that we can do here. Alright. Angle 2 is actually not too hard. It's a very specific type of angle that we've done in the past, guys. Starts with a V. Right? It's actually a vertical angle. That means that this is the same length as this. Well, we already know what that one on the left is. It's 55, so that means that angle is also 55 degrees. This is 55 degrees. Perfect. Now all it takes now is to go ahead and find angle 3. And now you guys can hopefully see that this is another exterior angle. So I have to add these two. So let's do it. So that basically means that we have to do the measure of angle 55 will equal my entire 150. So let's subtract 55, and I get that my final answer for angle 3 is 95 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 is 125, measure of angle 2 is 55, and measure of angle 3 is 95. All right. Whew. So that one was a little bit longer than the other ones, but let's see if we can actually figure out problem F here. So we'll walk through this one together. Once again, I apologize. My sheet have that for some reason acting a little weird, but this is measure angle 1, 3, and 5. This is 2, and this is 4. So again, we have lots of different ways to get started here, guys. I'm going to actually go ahead and get started with number 1. So the measure of angle 1. And again, just trace that out, guys. That's obviously not inside any triangle, but it actually is an exterior angle to this triangle, right? Okay, so again, with exterior angles, we know that we have to add the two non-adjacent angles. So the measure of angle 1 will be equal to 80, 60. In other words, 140 degrees. Now it was simple enough. Let's go ahead and write it in. 140 degrees. All right, now angle 2. Well, angle 2 is just to the side of it. It's adjacent to that 140. And what does this and this angle make? It makes a straight angle. It's a linear pair. And what does a linear pair have? A linear pair is at 180. So if one of my angles is already 140, all I really have to do is take 180 minus 140, and I get my angle 2, which is 40 degrees. All right, 40 degrees. All right, so let's cross this out and write in, oh, that's too big. Let's write in 40 degrees. All right, so we're getting somewhere. Perfect. Now, angle 3. Well, angle 3 is inside of this triangle here. And another angle that I see here that we might be able to use is this one. This is an exterior angle to those two angles. And those two angles are not adjacent, so I can use that. So that 105 must be equal to 40 plus angle 3. Let's do it. The measure of angle 3 is equal to, whoop, I'm sorry, I wrote that wrong. 105 is equal to the measure of angle 3 plus 40. So if I subtract 40 on both sides, I get 65 equals the measure of angle 3. So 65 degrees is the measure of angle 3. All right. Little by little, we're getting all of them, guys. All right, so that is 65. Now, angle 4, once again, that one I see a linear pair happening here. This, along with this, are two angles that make a straight angle right here. So they are a linear pair. So all I really have to do is take 180 minus the one I already know, which is 105. So 180 minus 105 gives me, wow, my math is all off today. Sorry about that, guys. It is 75. So the measure of angle 4 is 70 degrees. All right, so let's cross this one out and write in 75 degrees. And once again, I see one last exterior angle, which is measure of angle 5. So I have to add the two non-adjacent sides. So finally, for my final answer, the measure of angle 5 will be equal to 75 plus 40, or 115 degrees. All right, so finally measure angle 5 is 115 degrees. These are my final answers. Alright, so I'm going to highlight them here so you can see them all because I have quite a lot of work here. But these are my final answers. 140, 40, 65, 75, and 115. Alright guys, I think we're going to go ahead and finish off this last one and then we will be all done. Let's see what's being asked. It says, example number 4. Chloe bought a drafting table and set it up so that she can draw comfortably from her stool. Chloe measured the two angles created by the legs and the tabletop in case she had to dismantle the table. Which of the four numbered angles can Chloe determine by knowing the two angles formed with the tabletop? So which one of those two, or which one of these four? So let me make sure this is clear. If she knows that this is 68 and that's 29, which one of these, 1, 2, 3, or 4, can she definitely solve for? Which ones can you definitely figure out what they are? Okay, and I'll give you guys a chance to try that one out. So think about it for a second and then we'll come back and talk about it. Alright, did you guys figure it out? Well, hopefully you guys said that it is angles 1 and angles 2. Those are the two angles that she can definitely figure out knowing those two top green angles. And you might be asking, well, how do you know that? Alright, well, let's figure this out. If you look at this triangle right here, right? If you look at that triangle right there, we're missing an angle here. We'll call it angle X, alright? I can figure out what that angle is because of this triangle sum theorem. We know that if we have, all three of them have to add up to 180. So if I did, let's say I did call this X, I could do X plus 68 plus 29 equals 180. Well, okay, that would be X plus 97 equals 180. So X equals 83. Okay, so now I know that this has to equal, this X right here has to equal 83 degrees. Now you might be saying, well, what does that matter? I mean, that doesn't give me angle 1 or 2. However, what kind of angles are these now? They are vertical angles. So angle 2 is actually 83 degrees. And then finally, if that's 83 degrees, then I can figure out what this is, because this, and this will now make a linear pair, because they make 180. So all I have to do now is take 180 minus 83, and I will get 97 degrees. Okay? Alright. Now, if you solved it another way, that's totally fine, guys, but those are the only two that you can definitely figure out from those measurements. Now, you might have solved this second one for angle 2, I'm sorry, for angle 1. So this was 97 degrees, this was 83 degrees. This is another way you could have solved it, and maybe some of you guys saw it, maybe some of you didn't. But for angle 1, isn't angle 1 an exterior angle to this triangle here? So what does that mean? That means that the measure of angle 1 has to equal 68 plus 29. In other words, angle 1 has to be 97 degrees. That is also another way of solving this problem. Alright guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Hopefully this gave you guys a little bit more of intuition about what the triangle sum theorem, the corollary to that theorem, and the exterior angle theorem are. You're definitely going to have to know these and make sure you use them as we move forward. But go ahead and stop the video at this point and move on to the last video for this chapter. Bye, guys.